Hello there, you're listening to Rock Made of Metal on Radio Cali with myself, Ian Burley, and right now I am with some of the guys from Bullet from my Valentine. More specifically, I'm with yourself, who's
Matt,
and I'm also with
Moose.
So, how are you guys doing today?
Good, man. A little bit sore from last night's show, but excited for tonight. It's gonna be a good time.
Sweet. And is that it?
Yep, exactly the same.
Yeah. So, like, was it the last night show quite a rough one? Then I take it. Aye.
No, just that we had a few days off from the last show. We just flew in from Japan on Sunday, so everyone's a bit fuzzy and jet lagged.
Yeah.
But we did a super long set, and we played a lot of songs unplayed for a while, and the crowd was mental, and it was just good, man. Yesterday was a really, really good show, so hopefully we can top that tonight.
Yeah, well, speaking about your show right now anyway, I was wondering if you could just like give us some basic info, you know, just like stops, you know, support and stuff like that, if you could explain that for us.
Yeah, it's quite a brief European tour on this stint. We're going to do something bigger at the end of the year, but we're just basically doing, it was Birmingham, Glasgow tonight, Manchester, London, and then we do Paris, Berlin, Amsterdam, Stockholm, and that's kind of it for the little European leg up until the summer. That's it. Miss May I and Halestorm are our support bands, and everything's cool.
Fantastic support bands you got, by the way. I mean, you've got Miss May I, who are really kind of coming up there. Hailstorm's kind of like almost the American version of you guys in Britain right now as well too. Actually, I mean, what are your guys' thoughts on that song?
I don't know. It's a female Matek, is it? On Halestorm.
Well, maybe with the previous hair, maybe, but no, that's gone.
Awesome.
Yeah. Sweet. So, what was your thoughts on the support bands?
They're great. You know what I mean? Miss May I obviously hadn't seen them before. We saw them in Soundwave and stuff in Australia recently, so it was the first time I'd seen them. Hailstorm, we've took them out in the States a couple of times anyway, so we know them quite well. And yeah, they're doing very well in the States especially. Up and coming here, still a lot of work to do for the guys, but you know what I mean? It's just a matter of time really, so they're great guys.
Yeah. Fantastic guys. I mean, it was great they won that Grammy and everything as well too.
Yeah, know, so. Yeah, that was crazy, man. You know, Grammy award-winning band. You know what I mean? That's pretty cool.
Exactly. But going back for a sec, anyway, kind of maybe talking about the support stops as well too. You've only chosen 4. I know normally bands like yourself don't really get much say on like where you go and stuff like that. Was it kind of the case for this, or did you guys have a bit of choice?
No, we've got to a level now. We've have the agent that looks after our live stuff now has looked after us literally since before we were signed. So everything they do is for a reason. It's not just randomly booked or anything, you know what I mean? There's always like a little strategy kind of behind it because they know the market and stuff like that, you know what I mean? So, but like I said, we're coming back in November and December for a big proper UK European arena run, so stay tuned.
Awesome. Well, looking forward to hearing about that one later on then. But even before that, you're performing at Download this year as well too. Actually, that's one of the festival stops. You're pretty much coming on before Slipknot as well too. Actually, that's going to be a crazy day for you guys.
Yeah, it's always great playing that festival. You know what I mean? I think the Friday is probably, in my opinion, is the best day of the weekend. So and the crowd are going to be nice and fresh as well. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's always cool. It's going to be good, man. It's obviously Slipknot's not going to be the easiest band to play in front of, but you know, we're just going to do our thing, man. Not worry about that, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. I mean, hell, Downloads isn't always crazy enough time as it is, and always muddy. So hey. Yeah. Okay. So as I said, that's obviously the tour is obviously for the support of your new album as well too. Again, just kind of same idea as well too. Basic info, you know, like themes, you know, info. Where was it produced? Where was it recorded? I mean, stuff like that as well too.
It was recorded in a few places. The bulk of the work musically was done in Thailand, and then we wrote another couple of songs in Wales, and we went to Rockfield and did that, and another place called the Atrium in Cardiff where I did the Axwood record and stuff. So a little mismatch of studios here and there, but that's kind of the way we've always done it really. But theme-wise, it's not really a theme or a concept behind the album. If there was to be one, it's obviously the album title sums it up really. It's a very aggressive album lyrically, and yeah, it's just a great metal record, you know what I mean? We're very proud of it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, exactly as well too. I mean, I kind of heard like I was asking a couple of fans about the album as well too, actually, kind of saying it was a wee bit more, what's the word I'm looking for? It wasn't as, you know, you sat down and you kind of looked at it, was a wee bit more, you went to a studio, you played songs and oh, that's really good, you know, that kind of way. I can't remember the word for the life of me right now. But
Spontaneous,
yes, there we go.
There you go.
Thank you very much. First of all, was this kind of the case then before we went to follow? Yeah.
Yeah, that again, it was directly influenced from the way I did the Axwood thing, where we went into a studio and wrote a song a day until we had the record because we didn't have time or money to spend on it. Right. But it came out great, and it was a very like spontaneous, energetic vibe about doing it that way. So approached the boys, asked them if they would be cool to do that. They said yes, so with the label and stuff. So off we went and started to make a record as we went along.
That's sweet, awesome. And how about yourself, Moose? Then it's a case of, well, what was it kind of like for you then, kind of going from a produced kind of way to this kind of way?
Kind of like driving a car with a blindfold on. It's fun though. It was like a challenge. Yeah.
If you had to describe your feelings of, first of all, how do you even know about blindfold? What is it like to drive a car while blindfolded?
They teach you on wheels, you know, how to get away quick.
Hardcore.
Yeah.
So, okay, can you describe those kind of feelings then, if you get, of what was it like driving a car full blind?
Well, I can describe us writing a song really better. It's just you don't know where it's gonna go. It's like catching lightning in a bottle, really. So if something's cool has come up, you've already captured it. So you just
it's how everyone always writes a song anyway. So it's not really a dramatic different way of doing things. It was just that instead of going to a studio and demoing songs, it was just the real deal. So I mean, everyone just does that anyways. But instead of messing around, wasting time and money doing that, we just did it as we went along and kept it, everything, rather than re-recording it, you know.
Yeah, so. Exactly. Well, I mean, it's kind of coming on from the sense of like your previous album, because obviously there was a lot of fiction there as well too. It's been kind of readily reported as well too. Was that kind of one of the things kind of going into this album then? Was that kind of idea of, you know, strip it back, not as that kind of way maybe?
Not really. I mean, it was more kind of lyrically where kind of the friction and kind of the inner kind of, you know, behind closed doors things were coming out really. Musically, you know, we just went in there and we did want to kind of slow things down, but that was kind of the only thing we wanted to do really. That was the only kind of goal. But again, we just went in there and whatever came out, we kind of just rolled with. If it was good, we kept it. If it wasn't, we pushed it aside and started again, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's kind of one of the things about your albums as well too, is that the tempo of the songs always seems to get slower and slower and slower, like kind of progressively slow. Obviously not to the point where it's like love song, but you know, I mean, like kind of, are you still trying to kind of find the right tempo for your song then almost? You're still like in that kind of sense?
Not really. I think every album has been what it's been because that was the right thing to do at that time in our career, you know what I mean? So next album might be another thrashy album like Screaming Fire. You just never know, you know what I mean? Like this time round, this is what we just wanted to do.
That's cool, awesome. I can understand that. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. This is a wee bit more of a kind of a fan question. I mean, this is kind of one I was a wee bit curious about. Tears Don't Fall Part 2. I was a wee bit wondering about because obviously it was such a large, great song for you guys, and then it was kind of the part 2. What was kind of the choice behind doing something like that?
It was people like yourself, fans, basically. We when we were in Thailand, we just went online and we had an idea of maybe doing a sequel to an older song, and so we just went on Facebook and asked the fan base. You know, we're in Thailand hanging out. We're thinking about doing a part 2 to something. What do you want to hear? And you know, there was a lot of different opinions. But I think the majority of the people said, you know, Tears Don't Fall Part 2 would be amazing. So it's like, okay, well, let's do it. So we did. Simple.
Very simple enough answer. I mean, is it great to? I'm assuming you go from Tears Don't Fall then Tears Don't Fall Part 2 by any chance, yeah? No. Oh, okay.
We haven't yet, anyways.
Maybe
That's the only song off the new album we haven't played live yet.
Really?
Yeah, that's the only one we haven't played live yet.
We're never gonna play it.
So not even tonight.
We're gonna wait till like the 6th album, and then we're gonna play it.
that's just teasing.
You know, you got to keep people on a string. You know?
You've asked the fans, what would you like? It's like Tears Don't Fall Part 2. Yeah, you're gonna have to wait 3 more albums before they play that live. Enjoy.
Listen to it on the album, but you never hear it live. Not for the next 3 years, anyway. But who knows? You might play it tonight. You never know.
Never know. I'm not one of those interviewers that goes in, I should play it. No, don't. If you ever do hear me say anything like that, tell me to shut the fuck up. Please don't. Deal. Absolutely. Also, kind of one of the last things I wanted to kind of about, and it's obviously there's been quite a lot of a critical response to this album as well too. I mean, critically, a lot of people have said maybe some things. It's, you know, I'm not going to describe it to you. You've kind of already heard it before and stuff. Yeah. But I mean, kind of, what is your kind of feelings on that kind of thing? You know, like what are your feelings on that?
You know, it's easy to be a critic. It's harder to be an artist. So unless people can do better, they probably shouldn't open their mouths. You know what I mean? But criticism is something that, you know, it comes with the job. Everyone, like I said, everyone can be a critic. You know, that's the easy part. I'd like to see people go in and make a record. You know what I mean? And see how it sounds, and then I'll be a critic. You know.
I mean, we're our own critics anyway, so you know we like it, and so it goes out. So everyone else who doesn't like it, fuck you.
Yeah, it was this actually today that was on Twitter, which just so I'm not being rude, I was looking for it. And it was something Ricky Gervais said, which I retweeted, and it said, the best way to avoid criticism is to never do anything ever. Or you could do what you love, have a great life, and let others spend their time criticizing. And I thought that was summed it up nice, actually. So
you should retweet it, actually.
Rock Made the Metal will also retweet that when I get back home as well too. Well, I guess the only one thing I would say, I mean, I kind of agree if you have listened to the previous latest album as well too. You know, I'm not gonna lie to you, I do prefer the last album. Mainly, it's one of my favorite albums of all time. Although the favorite album is one of my favorite albums.
That's the way music is, man.
Yeah.
Everyone has their preference.
Yeah.
That's we're not oblivious to that.
Yeah.
I have my favorites too.
Exactly. So, but I still wouldn't say it wasn't as bad as people are making it out to be as well too. But
I mean, I think initially after people heard the first couple of singles, I think they were already judging it. And the reason why we released those two singles is because they were kind of oddballs, really. But when you listen to the album, they sit in perfectly. But we wanted to freak people out, and it worked. You know, it was like people like loved it or hated it. But I think now the album's been out, and people that want to get it have got it. Even on like on Twitter and stuff, we actually seen a lot of people saying, actually, you know what, I love the record now. So I think it's for a lot of people, it's been a grower. You know, which again, there's nothing wrong with that, but you know, we love it, and that's all that really matters.
Right,
you know.
Okay, cool. And I'll actually even leave it at that one as well too, and get onto probably the entire thing you're talking about, fans, as well too. I've got some fan questions. Some are serious, some are not so serious. We even have one that's a bit creepy, but we'll leave that one till last because at that point,
Let's do the creepy one first.
you want to go creepy first?
Yeah.
That's great. All right.
Weird. It's weird.
Let's get weird. All right. Phoebe. Phoebe was asking a question. She's I think she's kind of getting to 19-20 age right now. I can't exactly remember the age. However, she was wanting to know if you guys would marry her 13-year-old self.
Would I marry a 13-year-old?
You wanted real. Here you go.
Wow, that's horrific.
Yeah.
No. I was going to come back with something then, but I'm not.
No.
You
I'm not going to do it. It's far too easy.
You wanted weird. I gave you weird. But actually, more serious question on top of that. How do you must? I mean, obviously she's kind of joking about with it and stuff like that, but you must get like some serious moments with fans where you're a bit like, oh, good God, what did I do here? I mean, like, do you ever get those? How do you react to those kind of situations?
I mean, I try and avoid, this is not being like sounding weird or like rock starry, but I try and avoid everyone as much as possible, because as soon as you like start, that you can't stop. And I'm not the type of person that likes to be rude and tell people no.
Yeah.
So I'd rather not do anything for anyone or everyone, and that's just not possible, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I just kind of try and avoid the confrontation with fans as much as I'd loved. Like, yeah, last night coming out of the venue, there was like couple of hundred kids waiting on the bus. And it was like, oh God, here we go. And it was freezing cold. I just come off stage from a boiling hot shower. I didn't want to get ill. And they were like, sign this, take this. And I was like, you know what? I really can't be outside right now. You know what I mean? Otherwise the tour's done.
Yeah.
Don't want to get new money. You know what I mean? I don't like not interacting. But it's literally impossible. I would have been there hours, and today would have not happened because I'd have been ill. So it's just trying to self-preservation. You know what I mean? But you know, on stage, I'll go and high five as many people as I can. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Understandable. How about yourself, Moose?
Yeah, like Matt said, I went out there yesterday, and because I started, I was out there for hours.
Stop, man. 'Cause you can't say yes to one and then say no to another, and everyone just goes, "Oh, he's a dick." You know what I mean? It's like you can't win anyway, so it's best to just try and interact with the crowd when it's showtime. And if you do run into a couple of people, it's all good, man. If it's 200 people, it's impossible. You know.
Absolutely. Okay, cool. Well, in that case, we'll move on from that as well too. Kind of going into something a wee bit more serious, and this is, I'm not gonna lie, this is kind of directed to you, Matt. With Axewound, George was asking, with Axewound, yeah, side project as well too, that album was obviously very aggressive. He was wondering, how was it like trying to mix those two? Like, kind of, you put so much aggression there, did it take any of the aggression out of this previous album, and how do you mix those kind of aggression side, or go back to Billet and kind of stuff like that?
In a short answer, very simply, I didn't overthink anything. You know what I mean? It's like before we went into doing the Axewound thing, because we booked the studio a couple of days before, me and Jace went in. It was like I was thinking, where do I go? Where do we not go? But as soon as we got in the room together, and it just happened, and that was that, and then we got into the room with Moose, back to the day job, and that just happened. So it wasn't really overthinking anything. It was just more kind of indulging in, you know, Bullet is what it is, you know what I mean? So if we did a song like fucking Vultures, it's just not gonna, you know what I mean? That's not what Bullet sounds like.
Yeah.
So there's no point trying to
I wouldn't be
do
able
a
to play that shit anyway.
It's just, you know, I mean, it's quite easy. That's what it was, and Bullet is always is what it is, you know.
Sweet, awesome. Just to quickly check, are we still okay on time, by the way? Yeah, sweet, cool, awesome. In that case, again, we're kind of going back to a wee bit more of a kind of funny one as well too. Callum was asking if you had to be any kind of funny subgenre, you know, like pirate metal or anything like that. I know, right? Yeah, is that your answer?
Swashbuckle.
Any subgenre, you would be pirate metal? I take it, yeah.
That'd be cool. And kind of like Irish folk,
Yeah.
like death metal Irish folk kind of shit. That'd be good. Like
Fintroll.
banjos and, you know, the little
Flutes.
drummy things and flutes, but with fucking crazy guitar playing
Yeah,
and
like
stuff.
Fintroll.
That's Fintroll, is it?
Yeah, like
Is it?
Fintroll.
That's
yeah.
like Irish jig metal.
It's like Swedish death metal with flutes and shit. It's the best.
There you go. I want to be Fintroll.
We've even got a specific band. I love that. By the way, can I just say, Miss, I loved your face there, by the way. I was like a little kid. Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, like, yeah.
Fucking great. It's the worst type of music ever invented. It's so good, it's bad. So bad, it's good.
Interesting way of describing that, but I know what you mean. Okay, next question. This comes from a girl called Carmen as well too. However, I forgot to write this one down because it's a wee bit amateur, but you recorded a video in Glasgow. Do you remember what video that was by any chance?
Hearts Burst Into Fire.
That's the one.
It wasn't all done here. It was done from a UK tour in about 2008.
Yeah, that was you.
Yeah, but the opening scene was done in Glasgow, and some of the footage in between as well. So it wasn't specifically Glasgow, but there is quite a heavy Glasgow theme in there.
Yeah, exactly. Well, in that case, then I'll ask, why the heavy Glasgow theme then as well too?
Because if there's one nation that is like as loud as the Welsh, it's the Scots. You know what I mean? So we thought, fuck it. And the Bullet chant is always kind of mighty when we come here, so they were the loudest, so they win. What's up? I'm Matt.
And I'm Moose.
We're from Bullet My Valentine, and you're listening to Rock Made of Metal.
Hey there, thanks for listening in. This was brought to you by Rock Made of Metal. Thanks to Radio Cali, Caledonia University's student radio station. If you liked what you heard and you want to hear more, you can listen into the show from 6 till 8 on Wednesdays on www.radiocali.com. If you want to just hear the latest news, interviews and reviews in their entirety without listening to the radio show, you can do that as well too by subscribing to this channel, or you can head to www.rockmadeofmetal.wordpress.com. There's also social media at rockmadeofmetal and www.facebook.com/rockmadeofmetal. Thanks for tuning in. I hope to hear from you soon, and I hope to hear from you on Radio Cali.